it's just, I've got a fire inside of me I find it, I wouldn't say, a game, but I love winning. And whatever that means, to me, I guess that's, something that I probably have to look into. But to be able to succeed in a business that I've started is really, really rewarding.
Lachlan McPherson is an entrepreneur with over 16 years experience in the healthcare industry, 12 spent owning and operating his own businesses. He's the founder and director of Healthsite, which was founded in 2019, provides software and digital solutions to Australia's leading healthcare practices to enable them to improve efficiencies. In 2021, Healthsite was acquired and currently enjoys ongoing success. Lachlan diversified his business interests to currently include a digital marketing agency, Heartbeat Digital Marketing, a digital health and wellness magazine, Thrive Magazine, and an automated healthcare recruitment platform for practitioners. Welcome to Hacking Health. This podcast is for future-focused health experts, thought leaders and change makers who are interested in making health accessible for everyone, because together we can get to the future faster. What makes you smile, Lachlan?
Lots of things. Being here, talking to you, Sarah, obviously.
Of course. Goes without saying.
Do you know, I'm going to get all cheesy here and kind of go with life and living. Peace and contentment. That's been my my path for a number of years. Back 10 or so years ago, it would have been a completely different answer. It would have been, something along the lines of fast pace living, social outings. But now it's the small things, a fire and a glass of wine on the couch after a long day, and playing games with the family. And our latest one that's been really fun has been playing a game with the kids called Never Have I Ever.
Oh.
I don't know if you know that one, but
sounds risky.
It's very risky, and some very interesting things have come out of that game in kind of getting to know your kids a little better, and even getting to know your partner a little better.
How old are they?
9, 11 and 14.
Give us an example of a question you use with the family.
So you have to start it with never have I ever. So I did one the other night. Never have I ever snuck out without us knowing. And you start with 5 fingers up, and you've got to, if you have done that, then you have to put one of your fingers down. And 2 of the kids put their fingers down, and it was like, when? Tell me details and why. And so they thought it was hilarious.
That is fascinating.
It really was. And because it was a game, it was kind of in fun. And obviously, you can't go and chastise your kids for that, but it was actually really, really insightful.
We're just doing Yahtzee, sleeping queens, exploding kittens, all that sort of jazz.
Love that stuff as well. And there's just something about it, afterwards. There's that, natural dopamine kind of hit from it. And I love that because it's fun and it's good for your mental health. And, just doing those things, I think, that create actual space to let you smile.
Yes.
If that makes any sense at all.
What was it like representing Australia at the World Championships for rowing?
Oh, that was electric. I would describe it as. It's a rush like nothing else. I was young when I finished high school. I was 17 years old. And so I was matched up with 3 other kids, I guess you could call 17-year-olds, who were, at a level that our coaches thought, you could go and represent your country. And we were good enough, thankfully, to represent Australia at the Junior World Championships in Linz in Austria.
Wow.
When I was 17 years old, and I was hooked, sitting at the start line. You got the green and gold on, and you're next to Germany and Russia and the United States. And, you'd seen it on TV as a kid, but it was something else. And, the pride that you have to wear the green and gold, represent your country, it's really, really special. And then I was lucky enough to go on and do that, to represent Australia on 4 more occasions. We qualified the men's 8 in 2003 for the Olympic Games, which was probably a highlight.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I had a back injury in that 2003 World Championships preparation. I still got to the start line, but the next year, which was the Olympic year in '04, I unfortunately missed the selection narrowly. I couldn't do a squat, and I think my body was just cooked.
Oh.
But the whole experience, it was truly some of my life's best memories.
If you won $10 million tomorrow, what would you do with it?
Oh, well, I am absolutely positive that my kids would ask for $1 million each. So there goes $3 million of it. Now, of course, I would be responsible, and I'd put it in a trust account so they couldn't touch it until they're older. The rest, look, it's an interesting one. The rest, I think I would be putting into something that I really care about. And we're in the midst of a global crisis for young teens and their mental health.
Mm.
And there's just so little help, so little information out there for kids and parents. I would build a facility with services to take in kids in crisis, help them through whatever's going on for them, provide support to them, their families, and hopefully that can move the needle.
Mm.
If I had a few bucks left over, I'd probably buy Missy, my wife, some flowers then as well.
Should appreciate that, considering that each of her children got $1 million in trust.
She'd be happy that the kids are, looked after.
I know. What did you do before joining the healthcare industry?
So I came out of high school and went straight into rowing, and that was just a huge focus of mine. And as a result, I currently hold the record for the longest time to complete a finance arts degree at Monash University. I'm quite proud of that. That's an achievement that doesn't come lightly. So I finished my rowing and university career, if you could call it that, at the ripe old age of 25. And for all intents and purposes, I was unemployable. I still might be considered unemployable, which is why I work for myself. So my father, he was from the old school breed of dads, and he said, well, I'm going to offer you a job, but no special treatment for being the boss's son. He owned medical clinics. And so there's a front desk reception space at a bulk billing clinic in Frankston. And that's where I cut my teeth in the health industry.
Did you get special treatment as the boss's son?
None at all. No. I was a receptionist for 12 months, and people would call up and you'd say, hello, this is, the medical center. Oh, I've got the wrong number. And no, it's a male receptionist. Get over it. So I did that for a year.
So you had to
and
deal
then
with discrimination.
Oh, totally. Yep, totally. But it was really fun. And I think, that gave me such a good insight into, medical center right at the coalface.
Yeah, definitely. So what would you say? Obviously, you were employed as a receptionist for some time, then started your own business straight from there, like from the insights that you gained from the front desk. Is that what happened?
Look, definitely. It was. I did have an interim job there, but sitting there with two phones to your face, you've got the lovely GPs, God bless them, behind you saying, fax this, and it's quite chaotic. I don't think people actually realise how chaotic a front desk reception is. And I said to him, there's got to be a better way. You've got to look after these people. There's got to be some automation here instead of spending 5 minutes with Doris trying to, find an appointment to, for someone. And that was definitely how I kind of saw that opportunity to start my own business.
So what would you say the most rewarding aspect of owning a growing business is for you?
I get more enjoyment out of kind of building teams. And I know that, again, it sounds cheesy, but I just love building teams. I love seeing people in my team grow and improve their skills, becoming the people that they are today. And then I just love seeing the teams thrive, work together, solving the problems of any given day. I find that really, really rewarding. And I guess, on a personal side, coming from my rowing, I'm super competitive. I hate losing. I love winning. It's just I've got a fire inside of me that I find it. I wouldn't say a game, but I love winning, and whatever that means, to me, I guess that's something that I'd probably have to look into. But to be able to succeed in a business that I've started is really, really rewarding.
Did you sell Healthsite? And if so, why?
I did indeed sell Healthsite. I think, as an entrepreneur, I think, you reach a point where you can't kind of add any more value with your own skill set.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of reaches a point where it's really, it's best to hand over the reins to someone who can take that established business and really take it to the next level
Mm-hmm.
of a business. And I love starting things and building them to a point where they're fantastic businesses and sustainable. But I'm a bit of a control freak, and I'm not really interested in raising money for the sake of raising money, just to grow. I kind of look at things and say, okay, I've kind of tapped out on my own skill set, and it's kind of time to move it on. And I think that's really where I got to with Healthsite. And so, an exit was really the best option at the time.
Yeah. Well, it's a huge achievement for any entrepreneur. So congratulations. What is your interest in digital health?
Look, I think it's something that is traditionally so poorly serviced, and it has moved forwards. It's inched forwards very, very slowly. So there's so much opportunity there, and there still is. It's a really exciting space. I think with the time that I've spent in the healthcare industry, the intellectual property that I've built up, the connections that I've built up, it's you can just kind of identify and see, and I've got a list longer than I care to think about of opportunities that are out there in the digital health space. But I think it's just, there's just opportunities, and it's really poorly kind of done at the moment. So it's a logical place for me to be in.
Yeah. So why do you think it's poorly done? I have a few of my own ideas.
Without offending any particular group in the industry, I think some are resistant to change.
Uh-huh.
I think some people, think that the traditional way of doing things is going to be still the sustainable way of doing things, and that's just not the case. It's not reality. So I think the resistance in the space, whereas you see some other industries that have progressed and have thrived despite headwinds and market conditions. So I think they just need to get out of their own way.
See, for me, working in it as a lawyer every day, I think that I agree with you. You reference fax machines from the early 2000s, and they still exist in medical centres, but nowhere else probably, maybe some law firms. But it's a highly regulated space. And so I think that causes a lot of resistance to change as well, because it's difficult and scary, and there's cost associated with challenging the existing way of doing things.
I think we just need to just push through all of that. And yes, it's scary, and some of the excuses some people say, I don't want to have a Google profile because I don't want to let people write reviews on Google about me. And I just say that is the most absurd thing I've ever heard. I understand your fear. No one wants a bad review, but don't take yourself off the digital map just because of fear.
So what is your goal with Heartbeat Digital Marketing or Thrive Magazine?
So for Heartbeat, the goal's interesting because we're kind of more of a conduit for the fantastic work that healthcare practitioners do in this country, where we just really kind of help customers identify areas of their business that the community or people out there may not be aware of, or services that they can access and have access today from their local GP that they may not have normally known about. And so for me, that's a big kind of why we do what we do. You know, it's a really fantastic thing to hear, you know, clients say, oh, we've increased our CDM, our chronic disease management patients, because, you know, we as an agency have had a target and a focused kind of campaign on that. And you see that actually coming to life in extra bookings. And so for me, that's really the goal, is to help businesses that use our services promote those really fantastic services that they're offering.
Well, being a highly regulated space, marketing is one of those things that some health practitioners are afraid of, especially if they're doing something a bit different. And I'm sure like we love working with entrepreneurial doctors. And I'm sure as an entrepreneur yourself, you love it when those services are a little bit different and you can push them out.
I think it's fantastic. And, you know, you come across the unicorn kind of doctors who have that entrepreneurial mind and the business skills, and they're just fantastic to work with, because they've got that scientific brain matched with commercial kind of side of things. And, you know, it is hard because, you know, take, you know, a customer of ours who does medicinal cannabis. Now that is a minefield for being able to do advertising online, and it's been a really big learning curve, but of what you can say, what you can't say. You know, even things like aesthetics or cosmetics, you know, you can't use Botox, you can't use words like that. You'll be shut down, your ads will be shut down. It is a bit of a minefield, but again, people get a bit paralyzed by it because of the fear of getting in trouble. Whereas, you know, the reality is, if you did something like that inadvertently and you do get a, hey, you're not allowed to say that, you just take the ad down, or you just remove the word that you're not meant to say, and business goes on. And again, the fear is so much greater, or the hype so much greater than the actual reality of the outcomes of this kind of stuff. And I think there should be more of those types of practitioners wanting to do things like that.
Well, I guess that's a benefit of working with a firm like yours that already kind of knows what the limits are. But if your clients are willing to push it, then you can. We've had a look into this, obviously, for clients in the past, and I think there are some businesses that purposely breach the law in this space because they think for the cut through that they'll get versus what the fine is. And as you say, you wouldn't get a fine straight up. You would get a letter and you would say sorry and pull it. But chemists in particular are constantly pushing ads, I think, that are in breach of AHPRA guidelines, and they just keep doing it. And I think it's a commercial decision.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shocker, that one. And you know, there's obviously regulations, but Google's also kind of moved to stamp it out as well. And you know, you can't promote, you know, I don't know, mental health as a veterinarian kind of thing. They won't allow it because it's like, well, that's not congruent with what you actually do.
Right.
And if I'm, you know, seeing what, you know, understanding what you mean about the pharmacy as kind of promoting stuff that either doesn't work, you know, I'm sure there are people like that. But I know the new one with AHPRA is for cosmetic practices. Now you can't actually have unrealistic imagery to promote before and afters or something like that, or the afters, and it's all interesting. And then you try and go to APRA like I have and said, hey, could you have a talk to me about clarifying what you can and can't do, because we're doing exactly that right now. Unfortunately, they are less than
open.
To come and give you any insight, which is, as the judge, jury, and executioner, I think it makes things a bit harder.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Mm.
Do you have any other upcoming projects you can tell us about?
Sarah, you know me. I've always got something, stuff going on. Look, I'd say, one of the really cool things that we've just embarked on, that I'm really excited about, is our collaboration with Cubiko, one of my favourite companies in industry currently, doing really fantastic work for healthcare clinics. But we're really focusing on tying in the data that they can extract and using it in a defined way that's in sync with the digital marketing work that we're doing for our clients. And the end result is going to be a level of transparency and detail that has never been seen before, and probably, any agency that isn't really healthcare focused just wouldn't be doing it. So it's just going to give absolute accuracy and an insight into the work that we're doing for our customers and the results we're achieving. So you can, absolutely quantify, what we're doing and the money that our customers are spending with us, and how the results that they're kind of getting when you're kind of using our services.
Well, I think that's something
really
that agencies find so difficult, to prove that people are getting, like, what you're actually getting for your spend. So that's amazing. Yeah. What a great collaboration.
It really is. I kind of joke, quite often, that I want to rename our company the Digital Marketing Rehabilitation Centre, because we hear day in, day out of just horror stories of experiences that customers have had with previous agencies, of spending, it's not cheap, and they're just flushing money down the toilet. So my real objective has been, transparency, to make sure that they know where their money's going and the results it's achieving. The other thing that we've got going on, brewing in the wings, using digital marketing for, seemingly one of the biggest pain points for GP clinics, and that's finding or attracting or hiring GPs.
Yes.
So
it's been impossible.
It seems to have been impossible, and I've definitely experienced it working with my dad's clinics, and but I haven't been in that space for many years, and it just sounds like it's getting harder and harder. Less graduates coming through, harder to. I think they've just started, the international medical graduate, kind of them coming back into the country. Yes. But watch that space where there is. There's a silver bullet there somewhere, and we believe we've come up with a good crack at it, but it's still in the wings.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that.
Yes.
What is the most important lesson that you've learned over your career?
I would say, my ADHD would say I just get scattered with thoughts, and my dad used to always say, "Lachlan, you're best when you focus on one thing. Just do one thing at a time. And do it well." So I would say consistency. Doing the right thing day in, day out, year after year, good things seem to happen.
Thanks for coming in today.
You bet. Thanks for having me, Sarah.
Welcome. We're going to keep the conversation going in our private Facebook group, You Legal for Doctors. You're welcome to join us there.